Basically, today I want to discuss about Tobias Cornwall, Mardek, and the whole series and the whole creator behind that. And I think it's a very fascinating thing for anyone who is even slightly interested about any kind of artistic people. I just recently watched a documentary about Yo Hishashi, who is basically man behind Studio Ghibli. Very, very fascinating tale, and kind of opening my eyes also for the fact that I think he has very similar problem as well. This sort of cynical kind of worldview sort of thing that this guy, Yo Hishashi for Studio Ghibli, is known for his very artistical works in animation, which are very, very childlike, wonder-like. It's very, very magical and very, very, very fascinating, these worlds that he creates. But the man himself is very, very, I think, very, very, very sad, and somehow the world has kind of had an influence on him, so in very negative sense of the meaning. I think Tobias Cornwall is going to be a very similar case. As I already mentioned, this guy is behind a very lovely game series that is called Mardek, and other games as well. I'm still a huge fan, even though I have some criticism. I'm not sure is he going to listen. If he watches this, I'm not even sure he's going to watch this, but I'm going to still do it nonetheless. In later on, I want to make a bit more edited video about this, but before start, I want to inform you and also perhaps hear some other people who know about this thing, because I have made some Mardek remastered music in the past, and I know there are some people who like that series and are here perhaps know even some more about it. However, I want to really go into this. This guy is amazing. He has made games by himself with this 8-bit art style, this Mardek series that basically the whole naming convention is in there. Of course, it's an RPG game, but there are clever things, like it's based on the Mardek tale. It's based on this Babylonian tale of Marduk and all the things in there. It's a very, very fascinating Mesopotamia and that place and its history, and he incorporating these kind of small elements in there. Also of the fact that the game was really, very clever, very, very fun to play, as well as it was free Flash game when the Flash games ruled the galaxy. But nowadays, of course, Flash games have withered, and this guy is not as popular as he was, but he's still very, very much known. He has a passionate fan base, and he essentially writes a very, very detailed blog about his life, where he tells about all sorts of things he encounters in his life, very personal things as well. And he still develops games. A very, very fascinating fella. He has also many tragedies in his way. Many tragedies, such as I think he is kind of struggling with brain cancer, which is of course very, very terrifying. I've never want that sort of thing to anyone here, because brain and cancer is a very not good combination. So like that could be a reason why he is how he is. So I want to show I do like this guy. If like these problems are really big, so there's a reason why he thinks how he thinks. Also, just overall, reading his blog and seeing how he thinks has, of course, in the past I was this big fan who really liked his stuff, and I still do, but kind of opened my mind on how this guy thinks overall. But I think he's a very tragic fella, because he has had some personal kind of things in his life, so he is very much, as at least reading his blog. I've not read every single post, but looking at what he has written in the past, it's fascinating. Basically, you can check his blog yourself. You go to tamingmind.com. I have it here right now. Let me show it to you. Here we go. So yeah, Taming the Mind. This is the place he puts stuff in, and he's very open on his post. He has many people following him after all these years. All these people. He talks about games overall, the old series games. He talks about, of course, the brain checkup fatigue. It's a brain cancers and hospitals. It's a very directly he talks about all the things he talks about. And of course, I want to later on share this game that he's working on right now, which is I do admire. He still works on different stuff. He's currently making this melody rhythm sort of game where you play melodies and such and such. I love this art style he does. It's very different from what he does, but very much I'm supportive of what he does right now. But yeah, very much he talks about illnesses, and that might be a very much reason why he thinks how he thinks, and also other things. All sorts of many of other things. I could use a lot of time just talking about every single one of these, but essentially I'm going to just show you a picture that is going to summarize the whole thing. Let me show it to you here. Yeah, the stream. We have 4 people watching. Very quiet in the comment section and chat section. But yes, we're still going to talk about this. And yes, indeed. Let me show this picture, which I think very much summarizes how he thinks. It's a very old picture, but I think like this summarizes, I think, what he has writing in his blog about all these things, all about what kind of things he encounters. This is made in 2013, but I think it's still relevant on what he's still saying. I think it's very relevant, because if you look at this, if you read this, basically there's these characters from his game. He kind of talks about issues he's very much dealing with, kind of this kind of mindset thing. Basically, there's this character who said he hates being criticized all the time, which he had a very popular Flash game, and people were criticizing him on the fact that people would really want more of that Flash game. So I'm not one of those people who want to force him to do what he doesn't want to do. But I know many people, like tens of thousands of people, who would like to see a new Mardek series go and be created by him. And that is why even I've seen some fan projects. I know some fan projects that are currently developing without, I think, his consent. I'm not sure fully, but there are some Mardek games being made without the developer being involved. That much passion these people have. So he has been criticized, this character, I think, which kind of shows what he thinks. And then this brute fellow is like, oh come on, stop being such a witch. You seriously need to grow thicker skin, dude, seriously. And then he has this dumb face, and this is like, oh, I don't like that dumb people. Dumb people make me very angry. And then there's another picture, this kind of a more sympathizing person. He says the same thing, and he says, oh, I wish people would be more empathetic. Sorry that you have to go through that. So that is, I think, what summarizes what all he goes through and what he thinks. At least, of course, it's kind of a brute explanation of it, but this is very much something that I think summarizes the whole thing with Tobias Cornwall. I think he has this misconception of how many people think about him. Of this sort of he has this fan base, of course, many of whom have came from times of Mardek and that Flash game, because it was very popular. He has, of course, still people, of course, interested about his other works, but every time he writes a blog, there are usually posts that say, oh, when are you going to make Mardek another, episode of that game, and that sort of messages, and also when he talks about he doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't really he tried to reboot this franchise a few years ago with this sort of very different type of game, which was called the same. It was called Mardek, but it was this sort of game, instead of being RPGs where monsters and heroes fight for each other with swords. He had this game where people with words, try to make you friends with an RPG fighting system or something like that. It was called Mardek. All the characters were from the old game, but it was a drastically different game, and that was why he was very much criticized, quite a lot actually. I think his idea of trying to make this kind of new reboot, perhaps something happened in his life. I'm not like overall the information is not available on the blog. I can't know, but there is a certain shift from older times when he made the. Perhaps he had more time when he was studying and such, and when he made them, and now when the work and other things happen, perhaps kind of mindset changed. And in his newer games, the social kind of like the problems and issues the main characters go through are very personal to the Tobias Cornwall character himself. Looking at his blog in Taming the Mind, very much so. If we look at this again, this Taming the Mind, you can visit it yourself at tamingmind.com if you want to be here and read about this. This guy who basically works about his life. There were. Let me see. There was this one post a few months ago which I even answered him myself, and he writes like, "Should I do Mardek?" It's still on his mind while he is like this guy is quite much talking about this sort of like, should I do Mardek? Should I be self-publishing? And should I do Patreon should work for me and such and many people write, as you see, like very long answers. People are fascinated on what he does, and of course in this I don't see any bad comments, but in some of these, like, there were very big discussions. People wanted to do big answers. People are very interested in what this guy has to say, and they follow his development, like I do as well. I've been reading his blog time and time again, because I think it is he talks very openly about what kind of issues he has. I think it's even more openly than I could even myself, for the simple reason that I've had, like, of course, like, I'm not worried about any kind of harassment and such, because I know that if I tell less about myself, I have less to worry about possible harassment if I ever go big, if that ever happens. But still, that is the kind of reasoning I have, kind of try to control the information I give. Of course, giving the information, but personal life things, of course, they are kind of personal things. But he talks about the personal life very openly, which is, I think, very fascinating. That's why I do read it time to time. But this misconception, which I can see in the comic I just showed you, and in some post I've seen. You can even read it yourself. It's very kind of dark view on the people themselves. These people that many people just don't care. This sort of, what is the best word to describe this? Sort of like, people just simply don't care what he has to say and what is on his mind. And if he tries to explain himself, nobody can really understand. And I think it's a very big thing on artistic people themselves. Perhaps for the fact that like people feel like how they live and such very differently, and perhaps they what is explainable with words is very hard when it's when the emotions and this kind of things are in motion. Like, I have seen many of these posts. He talks about life, like how people think about these things, and what I should, like, this sort of not fully self-pity, but this sort of kind of in grey area, very much close to that, in sort of way that he talks about how people just don't understand and such. And let me try to find this one. I really want to show it, because if I just talk about it, I want to actually show it. He has been actually very active recently. Oh, hello, Lan. Good to see you. First comment. Well, we have had viewers watching. You're the first comment. Congratulations. How are you doing? Yes, I'm currently looking at this interesting tale about this one game developer. I'm trying to find this post I wanted to show you, because actually he has been very active recently. I think it was like 3 months ago or something. Yeah, I'm very happy that he has a thing going on him. Like, he actually does a lot of stuff. Yeah, he talks about anxiety and such, and there was this one thing that I think he went to really like self-pitying kind of way, which just, like, I don't want to criticize him too much, because I know he has gone through many things, but I can't find it. Where I can find it? Was it this? I'm not sure. How are you doing, Lana?
I am
today?
doing fine, thank you. I hope you are as well. Great.
I am alright, which I'm a bit sad. I've not been able to post that many videos recently, which is why working, because I just today being just making the game. It's been taking a long time, but otherwise doing nicely. It was a very nice autumn day here. But yes, I do want to talk about this. Do you know actually this guy this Tobias Cornwall? You might have seen some of the Mardek remakes I've done in the past, and you might know this guy. But what was the... Goddamn, what was it? I can't remember. He's been posting so many things. But basically, like... This is the kind of mindset he has overall, the same as this old comic of his, where he talks about like how people think, how people are, and such. And it's a very sad kind of story.
Yeah, I have heard some Flash games from him.
He has made many different Flash games, mainly Mardek, which is kind of like the biggest that he has had. He still has many fans about that are following him because of that game, and recently has been saying that he should perhaps remake those games. I would very much, of course, encourage it. I would have said that it perhaps should have been made a bit back in the day, a bit earlier. There was this talk about a remake of Mardek, and he actually rebooted the series, but it was not something people enjoyed by a great number of people. The trailer, I think, got like... let me actually show it to you instead of talking about it. Like, I don't want to be just kind of a YouTuber that just talks about things. I want to show it. I want to show this as well later on. Let me actually put this here in the text. Let me share this one. Mardek trailer.
Did he compose music for his game also?
He did. That was like everyone knows the Toby Fox, the guy who made Undertale, but like this guy was actually like Tobias Fox guy. Like if he would have released his game after Flash thing, like in Steam or somewhere, he could be so known. Man, I tell you, even the current generation of people would really like his stuff. He has not put it outside of the Flash system just yet. There have been projects outside of it that are not connected to Tobias Cornwall that are creating those games with better engines and such. But still, the game, all the music and such, he has made it. Art, everything, the story, everything was made by this guy. I'm not sure did he have any people to work with him. I think he was alone on this. But let me actually, before I show the trailer, let me show some gameplay. You might have seen this game if you have seen my channel earlier. Actually, there were some of my videos over here. Nice. But anyways. This is basically the gameplay looks like this. If you have not seen, I think it's a, this kind of RPG. Some kind of a speed run over here. Basically, people just going around this kind of 8-bit world.
Impressive. Yeah. That sounds like a great bunch of work.
He is very working guy. Like not only this game, which was I think many hours long. I'm not sure how long this game you can go with it, but this playthrough was how long it was. Let me see. It was like a 2-hour long, so it was like a speedrun. Even that, it's a long game. Of course, it's an RPG. You have not any shortcuts, but still, this is he has done a lot of work, a lot of stuff, and not just this game, but so many different games. He was very much working to make all these adventures. People followed him a lot, and still are. But something happened to this guy. I think he has, if you know Yohihashi or any of these kind of artist guy who has had this kind of if you know about Yohihashi, the Studio Ghibli guy, or any of these kind of artists that have kind of lost what's the word? This sort of word that describes what these people are, how these people think after perhaps having a lot of critique, not only that, but rough life overall. This sort of cynicism. I think that's the word. I think connected to his before work, this guy very much cynical, and of course he has changed. Tobias has made more games about perhaps creatures instead of fighting with swords. There's kind of a mental struggle. People are trying to make friends or trying to make other people understand the struggle the main characters are going through themselves. This sort of conflict instead of people fighting with laser bolts and fire attacks and lightning bolts and such. So that is the kind of more focus he has on his current game, which let me show it to you. Let me show it to you right now. Yeah, basically the trailer which he had made 4 years ago, so it was 2014. He started to reboot the series, so you can see it's a very similar looking.
We need more games that don't revolve around combat. There are a million engaging things in this world that don't involve killing anything. I think it's great he's doing something different.
I do agree. I have to say, I do agree, and I am fully supportive of what he does. I don't want to be the one who clings to the past and has a whip like, just do the Mardek game. Hello, old school loop video game. I actually haven't answered your email just yet, but thanks for the email. But you're still, the thing is that I do agree. I'm not in the camp that wants him to just do Mardek stuff. I am very supportive of what he does, but I think he has this kind of misconception of what kind of people think about it. Like, he has many supportive people and people who support him and such. And I think he has sort of this kind of not a victim mentality, but this sort of mentality that everyone is out to get him, sort of way. Not to the full of the strength like that, but it's not like he's like just showing it every time, but it's just reading behind the lines and what he says.
So
and
he is still going strong with new games.
He does, and these games, as old school loops video game music said, he does these games that are not revolved around combat. One of them, which let me actually show this old trailer. He tried to put the Mardek one, the game, kind of rebrand it. Of course, you can see the similarities of it. Well, let me show it to you. Like, he's basically, this game's like you tame monsters and such, and it's the same name and same world, but very, very different. There's this discovery of trying to get used to these monsters and tame them and such, which it looked pretty nice. I don't know what happened to this game. I think he never released it. He got a lot of critique of his approach on having the series that many liked in a way it was, and putting it to be something quite different. Yeah, I think that's how it went. So as you can see, there's these cute monsters like Pokemon style, and there's this story and party members, and they go around, and so it looks pretty nice, the graphics, and I don't know what happened to this one, but I think he's not working on it. Something happened. He made a lot of progress on it, but nothing has been released connected to this game, as far as I know. So yeah, very, very lovely art style, like he does all this like himself. Very, very lovely. I do like it. I think this would have been much more liked if he would not have used the original name of Mardek series, because some people, as you can see downward, and some comments down below, that they got kind of confused of this all because he named it same. I think that is how it is. Oh yes, very, very much so. Like, I'm not against change, especially I can see why people didn't like and take this very kindly for the simple reason that it had the same name as the same game before, and it was drastically different. It's like you meet some friend at some time in your life, and you meet them and you think, oh, he's that kind of guy, very funny and gives like a lot of jokes, but very next day it's like, what are you doing? A very, very dark voice and hates you and such. Ah, really?
I recall it just kind of died off quietly somewhere along the way, something like that. And yeah, the association with Mardek.
Yeah, the mobile market is itself for these RPGs. It's not like the Flash market, I think, as it was, the Flash games and such. There's so much trash in mobile space. Even in 2014, it is very hard to stand out compared to Flash games, which of course there were many Flash games as well, but nothing compared to the Android and iOS market, which is like, oh, it's not good. So I can understand why it never kind of got off. I think perhaps he should have focused on Steam and PC, because that's kind of the platform for indie RPGs. I think that should have been in place. Hello, Epic Rome 23. Thanks for the information. Like, it was interesting because I of course didn't. I tried to look this game on PC, but I never found it, so kind of a loss on me as well. I think it's very hard to transition from people that use PC and have used to play your game on other places to other systems. But yes, the association with Mardek, that was, I think, the killer. Something that the main, this is kind of big hyped fans were not fascinated about, because they looked, oh, Mardek game, new Mardek game, and then they were confused. I think that's the problem with that. He's currently working on a game which is called Cinderella's Song, Memory Cinderella's Song, which is a very interesting title. Yeah, that's just 2 months ago he published this trailer for it, which is very nice. Actually, let me show it to you. I think it also like shows that kind of I think mind he has already right now on things and how he thinks about things. I like the kind of art style of this. It transitioned from 2D to 3D. It's a very different from the old style of games and that he had, but very much, you know, kind of pink aesthetic and kind of a rhythmic singing song. As you can see, you can basically, the game is like there are songs and you need to play them as this young girl character, which is pretty nice actually. Like, I know many rhythmic games, but not like instrument playing games, of course. That is a genre of them. I know that there are some guitar playing games that have that, like Guitar Hero and such, but not a story focused ones, if I'm honest. I'm not sure. I really much like this kind of style he has, and I'm going to play it when it comes out. I think it's in kind of a beta alpha stage, if I'm right. But as you can see, there's also this kind of very kind of dark themes behind. Like, as you can see, like the most happiest thing is him dying. I think it very much reflects on this kind of mindset he has, Tobias Cornwall. At least on my perspective of reading his blog, seeing it, it's very, very touching. Very, very touching kind of take. But that is all his current works. That was the previous one was from 2014. He had a big gap, I think, in game development, perhaps because he had a brain cancer and he had to treat that. Now it's going better, but it was a big problem, of course. A big nasty thing is in kind of these kind of sicknesses and such, and brain cancer is one of the worst ones. So I can see why that would make him also add to this kind of a misconception of people perhaps being against him and such, and not understanding him, and people being I am glad that he's doing better. Artistic topic. I mean, what are the chances? Indeed so. Yes, I'm also very happy that he's doing better, because I'm really worried about him. I thought he would actually do some kind of suicide or something like that, because look at this blog at 1 year ago, it was very, very dark, very, very And of course, like, and also, no, not suicide. Okay, that was not the. I lied. Not suicide, but he actually went to brain surgery, and there was a chance that he would die from the brain surgery. That was the thing. Yeah, that was the thing. So yeah, like, it was very, very like. God damn. So like, very interesting topic. Crazy Maslow, welcome to the stream. Yes, indeed, very, 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 very sad. I think it's this kind of combination of kind of like, this is an artistic fella, as you could see. Like, he is, even alone without a team, he's able to do all this stuff. And imagine what he could actually do with a team, with a people that, you know, which could work with his vision to do stuff. Like, recently I watched some news about, you know, of course, there's been some Star Wars news about Disney CEO making his kind of a thought, writing a book about his thoughts on how it was a CEO and such, and he mentioned Star Wars in there and how there was this conflict between George Lucas and the CEO and such, and when they sell the when Lucas sold the company, he lost his artistic vision to the Disney. He tried to make the new Star Wars movies to be something better and more interesting ones that are currently going on, but he was not able to because of course the company and the structure in there was against it.
Tobias Cornwall is an icon for me in terms of website games. His original Mardek was the best thing I ever experienced for website games.
It was very good quality. Like, if you remember all the Flash games, they were kind of like one-time things, like mobile games were. Like, Crazy Maslov, I do admire him a lot. The game music, I got interested about game music because I looked at his games. I might have not been a composer without looking at Mardek. That was kind of out of topic. That was kind of out of topic. Not really sure. Like, it depends on what the painting materials. Not the next. The next one, the Gengru one, like, no, perhaps not, because the composing that could perhaps kill me. That's a possibility, because, you know, I got a sickness about it, and just recently having kind of this very nasty sickness, so I threw up a lot and such. Like, I don't want to go through that again. So, very, very hard question. If it's made, there's some paintings that are made in this kind of sort of. Yes, but outside of that, yes, OST, original soundtrack, excellent. If you actually are interested about some remastered Mardek music, go to my YouTube channel, eluukkanen, and you might be surprised, because you're currently watching in Twitch, you might have not seen some of the remakes I've done for Mardek. Might not be, I'm not sure. But I recommend you check out, they are in honor of the game music Tobias Cornwall made. Very, very excellent work. And I tell you that all of the old Flash games, he actually put a story together. It was a free game, so when I was young, of course, I had no much money to pay stuff on games when I was very, very young. When I played this very, very young age. So, like, I played it, I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed the work. And because it has a story, it's very fascinating, and the whole lore and the game itself was fun. I think if he would have released it. Perhaps there's a fine chance, because the Mardek one, if you search the Mardek keyword, I think, yeah, let me be self-centered right now. I want to actually check how I will be getting, because the thing is that, like, the Mardek fan base, it's lovely to see that there are still people interested about it. Like, I was not sure when I released this one, Mardek. I was not sure. I couldn't be. My stream is there, goddamn my face. But yes, like these ones, these remastered tracks. I wasn't even sure are people going to watch them. I was very surprised that there are people still interested about this stuff. Yeah, very, very interested. Very, very much so. But lovely to see that there's some people that, like you, that are very fascinated on this series. This series is absolutely, and these games, and like, not only Mardek, but I think he has closed his Fig Hunter website down, but he had many like this. There was this. Let me actually try to find some of these. which I think you should check out. I'm not sure is the Flash game still supported, or has it already been killed. Well, thank you very much. Perhaps it's not an authentic accent, I must admit, for the reason that I'm not from Great Britain, I'm from Finland. But I have fancy. I fancy sometimes for just speaking British accent. It's lovely, but yeah, it's not authentic. I tell you, because of course, Finnish speaking of English is very different. I don't want to even make you experience it. It's that terrible, horrifying. Oh, it's unique. It's unique because in Finnish we pronounce things as they are. Sometime perhaps I will show you. But yes, the thing is, this game, this lovely franchise, I tell you, just recently, I've been contacted by some people in Discord. Not recently, a few months ago. They contacted me on like currently there are two groups that are currently remastering this Mardek game with newer engine. And they are not affiliated with Tobias Cornwall themselves. So that's kind of a questionable thing. But you can see how big is this kind of fancy.
I don't like Mardek as a character in chapter 3 in a way that he acts like a flying dummy. He can't voice Mystery Man as Stele, Water Guardian as Emla, Green Wolf as Duga, Seeing Ink as all being horses.
But the thing is, like usually these, that's the problem of RPG protagonists. They are forcefully made idiot. I think that's kind of like a sickness that Mardek got. The magic main character. If you know this plot, as you mentioned, there's these guardians, and they were not actually the one. They were the, as you said, I think summarized it very correctly. These old friends of his that he can recognize. Thing is, that many RPG heroes, they are dummies. Goddamn, like usually they are made so that like very obvious twists that are just thrown at your way. The main character doesn't understand anything. Have you ever tried to work on a Spyro game? Work on it. I've played some games. One time I was trying to contact because before the Ignited trilogy was made, I tried to contact the developers of what was the developers that created the new remastered Spyro game. I tried to contact them, couldn't really get through them because the big corporation. If you try to contact them, nobody really listens. Usually these big companies are very much something that you have to personally, face-to-face know them. Well, classic obscure games, lovely to see. I think it's the first time seeing your name as well as Crazy Maslov, if I'm honest. Well, take it with a grain of salt, but I've seen so many different RPG protagonists, and their dumbness level is kind of varied. I just recently played Dragon Quest XI, and especially that, like, of course, the main character is kind of a guy that actually doesn't speak much, so he's like, he has even that Legend of Zelda Link disease, he cannot actually talk at all, which of course is as a very common thing with RPG protagonists. Beforehand they were made because of limitations. But nowadays they could actually fix that. But still, the thing is, like the dumbness level it varies. But I think it Mardek at least you said, yeah.
It's very good and inspiring for those people who like creating games. They want to play themselves when they can't find anything in their liking. I find it fascinating that great games come out from big companies who make games that are bad.
Very true. It's very different compared to, I think, like perhaps films. Thank you very much. That's actually a big honor. And I don't want to be like, just like, because I have remastered some Spyro stuff, I don't want to just sound like, oh, goddamn. I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm against and just kind of spiteful and such. But I tell you, I didn't personally like Spyro, the Ignited trilogy soundtrack myself. There was this nice thing when you changed the places where you went, the music changed, but the music, I think it was too far off from the original game. If I would have been able to choose, I would have had the original composer himself to do the stuff. Because I think he would know, even like he was not contacted and such. I was able to contact him, so why wouldn't they? But yeah, that's another story. But yes, how you would see the basic most important story in the future of original Magic chapters. There was this discussion. Let me actually try to open it. Can I share it to you actually? Is it a nasty thing if I share you the group that is currently making it? There's this some kind of there's this Discord group that is currently creating this Mardek 4, basically. That's what they do. Yeah, let me just look at this. There's some discussion. It's very active forum. That's a very interesting thing. They're talking about currently here in... Actually, let me not know. I don't want to destroy their trust. But the thing is, there are people that currently are thinking about possible things that are happening, should happen to Mardek and this story. I don't want to necessarily put my own thoughts on it, because I think the story that should be told is the one... Yeah, I would like to, of course, go to... hello there, Ahmed Ayakal. Elakal. Is that how I pronounce it? Nice to see you after a while. Good to see some familiar faces. But yes, the hint in Anuaki deals was supposed to be... The thing is, I don't want to too much go into plus speculation. My brother and me, my older brother, we love to have these kind of speculation things on how things should have been. Not just for Mardek stuff, but... Yes? Let me actually put that on note. I will answer on that what you ask very, very soon. That's actually, I'm not sure, familiar with that, but I could check that out. Thing is, let me actually just write that down. What was it? Fence Mushashi. Brave Fence Mushashi. Brave Fence Mushashi. That's the one. Anyways, the thing is that I don't want to speculate too much. My brother and I, we love to discuss and do this sort of speculation thing on many different games, films, about, of course, the current Star Wars films, how they could have been made better. You have seen many millions of videos in YouTube about that, perhaps. But not only that, but like the Hobbit films and so many different kind of films. I love to talk about that, but just I have to stop at some point. It should be possible to play Flash games still, but it will require... Yeah, because they don't support it. Yeah, that's a kind of a nasty thing. I think he should put those in Steam. But the thing is about the speculation thing. I think it's overall very, very kind of not useful in the long run, because overall, like, it's lovely to speculate, but they never get used. Even if you do have good ideas, that's a nasty thing. Yes, that's one as well. But the thing is there a possibility to perhaps put this game to a sort of a game system, these are the old Mardeks, and possibly get them to Steam to work with that? Because I tell you, if Tobias would have gone to Steam years ago, I think he would be some sort of indie developer legend or something. Because looking at the Undertale, this game that had very kind of the Mother series, this sort of very similar aesthetic, this sort of 8-bit Wonderwolf world and such. If Tobias Cornwall would have taken that chance, I would think that possibly he could be very much known. Because the problem is that the younger generation doesn't know about these games. And even the current one, because Flash game, of course, as you mentioned, the engine kind of died off. So, very much so, the thing is that you have to do this workaround stuff. Which is, of course, the user base, and not many games are developed to Flash anymore. HTML and other system things are much better, and I think much more smoother. So, and that's kind of a problem for Flash games as well. One of the Flash games which I just recently discovered, if some of you know about... I think it's not in the same level as Mardek series, but I recently looked at this Adventure Quest. If anyone here remembers that game, that's also in Flash, and it's still being played. It's weird, but the fact that is, the Flash games are going to go away. They're going to die, because not many games are developed for them any longer. Very sad thing, very, very sad. I have some ideas on how could Tobias Cornwall. But like the thing is, Tobias Cornwall in himself has a lot of potential. Like I just showed the trailer for the what was the game again? Not Mardek, but the Cinderella song. Like the music, what he does, like he has developed quite a lot recently. Like using 3D much more.
I agree, of course, remaster of the Mardek games to Steam such would be very nice and work over very well. Tobias definitely would have been big if he had started there.
Yes, indeed, he should have. He should have. Oh, I don't want to work. No roadblocks. No roadblocks.
Tobias porting the Mardek chapters from Steam for free for a humble $5 or something.
Something like that. I've seen some people remastering the whole game, and I like here's the thing. There are two groups currently are making a remastered for the Mardek games, and one is actually has been able to contact Tobias and has been able to get this sort of deal with Tobias. I think, if I'm right. And he had this business plan of releasing first chapter of course he would share the revenue to Tobias, but he would basically develop it, make it with a team and such. I think he had big funding even for that in his kind of like, he could actually put a lot of money to it, because he would actually make it so that the first game would be kind of a free, because it was a very short game. Then the rest of the games and also the games that would be developed after would be paid. I think that's the kind of the plan. I think it makes sense, because these games don't need to be cost a lot, but like even with $5, I think it would be getting a lot of notice, because even the Cinderella song, I think that he is going to go with and add to these places. People could very much like this. I think they are. He has this artistic kind of touch to games. He's very good with them. He is very excellent with them. On my opinion, very much so. I think the problem is that he is not comfortable with working with a team. There is a possible team that is already working without his permission, but they're still working. They've already got some stuff done. If I look at here, like there's some art and such that they've done.
I'm going to release on Steam. Final fallacy.
Of course, Steam is the place. Even though like I don't really care about 30% of the revenue share and such, but like the thing is, Steam is the best. Like they have these epic game stores and such, but I'm not really interested about that at the moment, because the Steam is just I think it's of course kind of crowded. I'm not personally. I think Steam could perhaps, like there's a lot of trash in the Steam. I think the games that are indie could sell much more if it would be not curated, but the shitty games would be taken out of there, like the games that nobody actually buys and such, just are in the storefront a lot. That's why like the Nintendo Switch store has been better for indie developers, but as I do for the game I'm currently doing myself, Final Fantasy, you should actually follow this channel right now if you want to see more news about it, because I believe that is going to be a nice game, but I'm not going to tell too much about that. But still, the thing is, the Steam is the best. Steam is the best place, and I think Tobias Cornwall should have put his game to Steam because of the fact that there's a lot of players in there, and his games could have been standing out, especially if he would have put the first game as a free kind of stuff. But I think that Tobias Cornwall, I don't want to criticize him too much, but he's not very good with people. Okay, for the fact that I think he has this misconception of generally that people are kind of against him. I think it's kind of this kind of artistic shyness, compacted, kind of mixed with this kind of left thing he has had. Oh man, I would have owned that years ago. And I think many others, like the problem is, younger generation, they don't play Flash anymore. It's kind of like, it feels old to play Flash. And if they would have had a game with, like all the assets are there. I don't know how easy it is to turn to kind of a Windows version or such, but I think assets are there. It could be. The younger generation doesn't know. about the game. And also the problem, I think, is not very good with working with other people. I think with this one, he has, like, the thing is, it would be a dream situation for me. I'm a composer myself. I'm currently developing on this game I've been very bigly just working on, this Final Fallacy, and some of you might know about it. I've been posting a lot of updates to Discord. I want to do some videos about it in future. But the thing is, if I would have had that much interested people to work for, like, a remaster for the Mardek one, the Mardek game, and they are like in the group. Let me see. There's like 41 people plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 50 people that, like, and counting, that could be like assisting for free because they are so in love with the game and the very nostalgic, and they're like fanatic even. Like it's positive fanaticism, which is very nice, because if you like something far enough, like I have some things I really like, you are ready to put some time and effort to them, like, and for free and such, and that's the kind of the beauty of the thing. If I would have that currently for myself or for my stuff, and of course I would pay people if they would work for me and such, but man, that's a thing, like a dream. No one like me, like I don't have that. Nobody in this position could have that. He has this opportunity, and I think because he is kind of unsure about other people, he does not fully go there, like to work with these people, even though there's a possibility that he could go. And overall, I think it just connects to the whole fact that, you know, that's why the only way I could make anyone smart is to get people rid of me. Like it's like looking at the screen, it's the trailer for the Cinderella song is currently working on. It's very sad. Like I think this whole ending thing, like where this like people would be only thing that made me smile is when I die because people don't want me here. It's I think some thoughts that have been going on in his mind. And problem with the current world being in. The thing is, there's already been like I have for many ones, and I think one of them that had, you know, a guy that has a close relationship. I think not close, but like a trusted relationship with Tobias. He has already got a permission, kinda, because there were a revenue share of like 20% or 15%, but I think he doesn't understand perhaps the fact that how it could be perhaps developed with perhaps other people could take the mantle of making the game. I can understand it, the fact because of he made the series. I think he would want to keep the control, but why wouldn't he also make in the deal that he could have this kind of editorial control, even though he wouldn't develop the game, but there would be a kind of a contract that would be written according to law. And the thing is that people could develop it for him, but the major plot scenarios and such and some other things he could be still kind of making, even though he would not make the game. Like that, I've had this inside information that there is this kind of talk going on, but he's not doing it. And it all goes to this kind of how could he explain, like this shyness and doesn't, and this sort of, I don't know. I suppose, but the problem is I've contacted to him, and like the problem is it's hard to contact this Tobias guy. He usually contacts of course in blog where people are like when people comment on what he does, he answers back on that, but usually the Mardek stuff and such he doesn't really comment back on in the blog, and at the same time he has a mail address. Usually he doesn't answer that. Even the guy who I talked with mentioned something about like he's very hard to. But the problem is, it's all up to the Tobias Cornwall himself. The thing is, he could make the game be developed by others, it'd be a big hit. He could be responsible for many important decisions in the game, in the future releases, if they make a Mark 4 and such. This is the problem about artists. If you ever, like, if there's someone there watching right now who's going to become this kind of big artistic person and going to be hugely known, and making something that people like, please do avoid this sort of weakness of kind of having this kind of a limited view. I don't want to be too rash to him because he has gone through a lot. Like if you read a CCD blog, he has gone through a lot, and it's hard to criticize people on like things like brain cancer. So like you can even criticize him about being sad about that, because that's of course a very sad thing. But all this like this I still want to show it because perhaps there's all the new people watching. If you remember, like in the beginning, I showed this old comic of his in DeviantArt. Now, how do people use DeviantArt yet? But yes, there was this kind of old picture I wanted to take here and show how like dumb people say like in the right panel or get up, dicker skin or something like that. And when he said like, "Oh, I've been criticized," and then there's this empathetic person there, and he likes it, but when there's nasty people he doesn't like it, they look down. Like the thing is, I think this is this is the best explanation on how I think this guy thinks. And it's a very sad thing because I've seen this. Like the thing is, like life is like a video game. I think like the thing is, people can have very big skills on something. They can be very mathematical. They can be extremely artistic. They can be so excellent in some areas, but then they have one Achilles heel, and then they just fall off like. And one of the guys in the chat at some point said like there should be more games about not less about fighting as such. But I tell you like when I've been very much going to many things, meeting people, and especially trying to learn the art of discussion and negotiation and such. There is mental fights. This sort of like if you have a dialogue and if you try to discuss with someone and have this sort of dialogue between other people, it's kind of fight as well. Like fight always does not need to be this sort of sword and shields. That's the basic level of it. There can be many fighting levels, especially like discussion in debates. If you can see, like it is essentially everything is like that kind of thing is kind of like a fight and struggle and trying to beat the opponent, and perhaps not perhaps beating the opponent, but try to get the mutual understanding. And that is actually one of the things I'm going to add to the final fallacy, which is. This sort of there's a layer for fighting with swords and such, but there's the discussion there as well. But anyways,
I just realized there may be something that was pushing Tobias back 5 future chapters. Already in chapter 3 you could have level plus 50 with Mardek. Enemies /boss/our characters will level up again up to chapter 7 while the cap of characters is level 100. And max out of skill point to have is something around 53. And there was stuff like rainbow or level 1 skill, loot finder level 1 skill. The progress and the cost of evolving all of it would be hard with limitations like level /skin point cap.
So essentially you are saying that, let me try to understand it, basically the cap was big there, in the end you could have 50 level. Usually RPGs have this kind of thing that you could have you can finish the game with a level 40 or 50 characters, and there's still like 50 more levels if you want to be that mad or courageous, depending on how you look at it, to level up your character. So that was the thing. But possibly there was more space for some things, perhaps, or not. I'm not sure. Like, the thing is, we don't know what kind of ideas he had. Perhaps he has written on his blog, but I think he has not given up on major plot points, because he, of course, wants to help them on the games if he wants to develop those. I can understand that. That is a thing. That is the thing. It's a very kind of sad. Let me actually just go get some water. Just quickly. Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. Very sad story. And I'm not sure I'm going to, did I anger people by saying like what I think about this Tobias Cornwall guy? I want to talk about him later on, perhaps more, discuss about him and such, and perhaps make an well-edited video on discussing this, because I think it's something people should know more about. This guy is absolutely phenomenal with his works, but I think there's problems. There are many problems, and he doesn't, I think, see all of them. I hope he could. Like he is very very talented, but like I'm not sure. I think that's the main gist of it. All this discussion. It could potentially there could be bigger things, but yes, there just isn't. But I think that is actually. I think I have nothing more to say. Like the thing is, all the power to make this what he wants to do is on the hands of the.
The faithful Mardek chapter continuation fall down after Rails and some patches for Mardek 3 which is 2010. Why? Because to this day he didn't bring us the guide for chapter 3, while there was already a created for it.
Oh really? So he, perhaps because of his personal things, he stopped making it. I think there's some kind of personal story we just cannot know about with this fella. Like this is the main picture he has made him. This is the self-portrait. Very nice, very nice. But yes, this guy like they have some personal thing perhaps that has had been on. Oh man, I can't. I'm so sorry for not having the information thing on the. I don't know, like perhaps people are being like, you know, doing some notifications like your donation, like god damn, sorry for that. Thank you very much on the donation, very much appreciated, very much appreciated. Thank you, Lan, for the donation of $10. It goes to the great action of us making some content and such and such. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do mean it. I have not many flashy things on the screen, but yeah, I like it. Thank you very much. Thing is, as you see, like the streaming stuff, I need to still have the kind of the thing I have. But also like something streaming elements, like having some kind of a cookie jar on there where things to drop and some kind of like hey, the newest follower here, and like, all these things. I kind of like them being off. They have those kind of that is very important thing to have. Thank you again. Thank you. But yes, I think personally, I believe that there's some kind of personal story with him. Look, that is a thing. Like this guy has been very open on his life overall, his blog, very open. Like he has talked about, like even like. What he wants about his girlfriend and all, like not nasty language, but he, like been very open on this stuff. I mean, I'm mostly interested about his talk about game developing, but I was surprised how open he was. But that some kind of thing has happened to him that he was not very open about, and that is respectable. I think personal life overall that he's already shared this much is very very big thing, and we have to of course respect that. Very very true, crazy Maslow. Very, very true. The problem, like the reason why I don't share anything about my personal life to here on the stream, because of course, personal life, it's I think it's just, this time of internet, everything is just on the camera and on the public and such, and every NSA knows everything about you and such. It's good to have some personal things. Not everybody doesn't need to know about all of life. So overall, him having already discussed so much about his life is very honorable, but he doesn't need to. I think something has happened to him, his kind of like view on the games and people and such. I wish I could help and say something, but thing is, like, if people don't want to change, if people don't want to, like, I don't want to say, like, yeah, yeah, I don't want to say, like, oh, he's not willing to change, but, like, oh man, I wish I would know the problem. Because the thing is, so many people feel like I've discussed, like I don't have any some people like they are not perhaps good game developers, but they don't have any good problems like that. But like this guy, he has excellent skills, excellent in art, in music, in pictures, in everything. Like he's very artistic person and artistic with all what he does, and this is the biggest problem he has. And it could easily go, I don't know how easily, but like it feels something that could be solvable. everything I feel is solvable, but perhaps that's naive of me to say. But like especially like mental things, I think those are the most solvable things. If people are willing to do that, like some, of course, I might be naive to say that. I personally went to some dark things on myself, and I've noticed that it's easy to go to that kind of mind state Tobias has himself went to. I think he's going better now. I think he's doing better, and we shall see what he does. I think him getting back to game development now is a good positive sign, especially in longer term, like Cinderella's Song and other projects as well. That's all what I have to say today. Nothing too interesting. Thank you, Crazy Maslov. That's a lovely name. So, welcome here. Lovely to have you here. If you want to see more streams later on, do have the following button. Of course, I don't have any kind of notification. Oh, this and this and this followed me yet. But that's going to be coming here perhaps later on. More importantly, more content that is going to talk about overall about people and more about the artists and more about these kind of streams that are interactive, and I'm going to talk about very interesting topics and such. Thank you very much, Crazy Maslow. I appreciate it. But those are going to be discussed about later on. Very much would be lovely to have you there, and I think we are going to. But in the meantime, I wish you a good day. If you want to discuss more offline with me, go to my Discord server that's down in the Discord. I know everybody nowadays say like go to my Patreon, go to my Twitter, go to my Discords, and especially with Discords, everybody wants you to go to their Discord. But the thing is, my Discord very much, of course, not just mine, but the thing is, it's a place kind of for people to share their works. It's a freelancer server which is going to be bigger later on, but nowadays kind of building this community of people sharing their own work, putting things together. Would be lovely to have you here. And of course, discuss about this much more if you want to know more information. What I just said, perhaps especially on those groups who are developing Mardek, I would perhaps tell more about those later on. But yes, anyways, wherever you are, whoever you are, I wish you a great day. Feel free to check some music I've done if you're interested. And that's all today. Have a good evening. I know there's a kind of delay in the stream ending, so I'm going to wait if people are going to say goodbye. Perhaps I'm waiting for nothing. Oh, I don't know, not really, but still, I have to just check.